Welcome to Wrestling Talk in the Shop, where we will review wrestling memorabilia and talk all things professional wrestling straight from the wrestling ring.
Hello, this is Jonathan from Wrestling Talk in the Shop, and today we're going to go over Inside Wrestling from July of 1988 with Kerry Von Erich and Michael Hayes on the cover. We'll kind of look over the cover here. One-on-one, Eddie Gilbert versus Jerry Lawler. $1 million payoff. Has Hulk Hogan hired Randy Savage to crush Ted DiBiase. Down but not out. J.J. Dillon's plan to revitalize the Four Horsemen. Sting, I'm glad I haven't won the world title yet. I don't know why he'd be glad, but anyway, we'll go through and look. There's your advertisements. Pretty much the same advertisements in all these magazines. Here's your table of contents. Turn the page here. Calgary Nightmare. Stampede Wrestling is not safe as long as Jason the Terrible is allowed to use his hockey mask as a weapon. Notes. I don't know how to pronounce that. Tobias. What's that? Wolny. Oh, there's a shot of future covers. Well, that would have been a match. I'd like to see Hulk Hogan versus Kerry Von Erich. I've searched. I can't ever see where they cross paths anywhere. Not to my knowledge anywhere. But that would have been a match to see. Editor's notebook. More advertisements. Behind the dressing room door.
Oh, here we go. It's Macho.
Where you talking? Oh, this is Macho?
Yeah. Everybody's talking about WWF World Champion Randy Savage and WrestleMania. What is that?
Four.
About Ted DiBiase.
I guess it's 4.
But the wrestling world doesn't revolve around the Macho Man, who, by the way, needed the outside interference of Hulk Hogan to win the belt.
Hogan at that time was always in the main event picture. On the road with Craig Peters. Bobby Eaton clobbers Tommy Rogers. This talks about Lord of the Rings. Actually, on this was, I think, the very first wrestling VHS.
I seen you looking at that on eBay.
Here's some different highlights. Dusty Rhodes was stripped of the U.S. titles and suspended by the NWA for 120 days following the incident that aired on March 26 on WTBS, which Rhodes attacked Tully Blanchard and accidentally injured NWA president Jim Crockett.
Incident stems from March 18th match in Cincinnati pitting Blanchard and Arn Anderson against Barry Windham and Lex Luger. Windham and Luger were disqualified when TA interfered with a baseball bat. TA shoved the bat at Tully's head during a tug-of-war. Afterwards, Windham and Luger shielded Magnum from the Horsemen. 3 days later, during an interview with David Crockett, TA brought his bat out again and placed it down before he spoke. The Warrior still lives inside of me, TA said, and the Horsemen had better watch out. Magnum then spoke about his I Quit match victory over Tully at Starrcade 85 when Blanchard came out with Dillon. Tully and Magnum hurled insults at one another when Windham came between them, and Tully said, "This man is in no condition to fight with you. Get out of here." And then Tully nailed Windham, and TA grabbed Blanchard by the throat. And sending him to the ground, Tully grabbed the bloody Magnum by the hair and screamed, "Tell him I never said I quit. Tell him." David Crockett tried to pull Tully off Magnum, and then Dusty ran out, grabbed the bat, and battered Blanchard. NWA official Rob Garner tried to break it off, but was pushed away. And then Jim Crockett came out and was hit in the throat by Dusty. So I guess that's what he got in trouble for. The suspension forced Rhodes out of the chance to defend this Crockett Cup championship with Nikita Koloff. Dillon, meanwhile, is pushing for lifetime suspension of Rhodes, which never happened.
Lord Humongous.
Lord Humongous. I think they really should have kept that name.
I think that was Sid Vicious. I think. I'm not 100%. Y'all don't quote me on that. Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect. Paul E. Dangerously. Still on TV every week.
A lot of these names are still on there a lot. Different promotions, but...
This talking about after it won the title. This is right after, well, this is a few months after WrestleMania. Back then, you couldn't just turn the internet on and get the news.
Wait for the magazine to come out.
Nah, you figured it out. On the assignment. You want to read this?
This one?
Yeah.
Okay. Kerry Von Erich shakes hands with long-term enemy and now friend Michael Hayes as Kerry Von Erich looks on approvingly. Their recent alliance adds a strange twist to the relationship between the Freebirds and the Von Erichs.
Read this.
Wait, this. Yeah. Oh, okay. Unlikely bedfellows. How about Kerry Von Erich and Michael Hayes? This month's Inside Wrestler cover features the two veterans drinking their favorite beverages, milk, for Von Erich, of course, and Jack Daniels for Hayes. Nothing could be better to represent the differences between the two. What comes to mind, because you got to get your persona. What comes to mind when you think of Avowed, what is that, Tito Taylor?
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. Kerry Von Erich, Christian values. Oh, okay, he's a good guy. I guess that's what it means. Milk and cookies, charity, family. In real life they weren't quite that.
Well, they were. I mean, you could be that's not.
You gotta play the
spot.
part.
Yeah.
Associated with Michael Hayes and qualities not quite so respectable. Let him stick a 6-pack and a bottle of Jack on my plot. Hayes once said, "That's the only kind of headstone I want. Live fast, work hard, party always." That's been the ethic central to Michael Hayes' personal philosophy. No one was very surprised at the feud that escalated over the years between the Von Erich family and the Freebirds. Let's see, a classic confrontation of opposites. At one point, the height of the battle back in '83, Kevin Von Erich, blistered and battered from a surprise Freebird attack, remarked, I would give up all designs on a world championship if I could run those animals out of the sport. They aren't even human. They deserve to rot in some sinkhole in the rest of their miserable lives. Only the Freebirds could elicit such a violent hatred from the Von Erichs. The Freebirds matched their foes in times of hatred. The only good Von Erich is a crippled Von Erich, cried Terry Gordy one night a few years back. The comment won among over the years didn't endear him to the family of the Von Erichs faithful. The next day, Gordy had to cancel a match against Kerry because of several dozen death threats, to which Kerry added, the next time I get my hands around Gordy's neck, I won't let go, and so on and so on. But wrestlers inhabit a strange world, a world where lines of friendship and animosity are often blurred, and men cut out from various vastly different types of cloth find themselves linking hands. Recently, Buddy Roberts, a Freebird, crashed a concert being given by Michael Hayes, another Freebird, upset his friend to no end. The drunken idiot ruined the entire show. Hayes screamed, he showed no respect for me or my music. I gave him and his pals free music passes, set him up with food and drinks, and he still wasn't satisfied. He had to show everyone what a big man he is. He had to storm up on the stage and interrupt me in the middle of a number. I ought to put a hurting on him. Roberts remembers singing. In fact, he barely uttered a note, but not much else. Once the fracas calmed down, security guards poured him on a couch where he immediately fell into a drunken sleep, and he doesn't understand why his Freebird brother is so upset.
I think what happened was they actually attacked Hayes in this. I remember seeing about this. And then the Von Erichs come out and saved Michael Hayes, and then they ended up going shortly. Kerry and Michael ended up teaming up against Buddy Roberts and Iceman there for a while. This was towards the end of World Class, right around. I mean, it was long past the heydays. Wasn't far from the heart attack angle. If you know anything about World Class, you're familiar with that. And here's an advertisement for Gordon Soley's Championship Wrestling Trivia. I'd like to find that. Only $29.99 plus $4 shipping and handling. I might have to look on eBay and see if I can find it. I bet it ain't $29.
Probably not.
Where are they now? It just goes over. Danny Spivey.
You know.
Yeah.
Mighty Igor.
I always liked Dan Spivey. I thought he was really good in Waylon when he played Waylon Mercer in WWE or WWF at the time. But,
Bob Orton Jr.
Sets up Don Morocco for a pile driver.
It's a family tradition.
There's Bob Orton Jr.
Cowboy Bob.
Yeah. He's still wrestling on Independence today. Huh? Yeah, I seen him on the video. Yeah, TikTok. I seen it.
You seen him on TikTok?
Yeah, wrestling. That's on the Independence show. But anyway, here's the different highlights. Talking about news from the wrestling capitals.
Lex Luger versus Tully Blanchard. That was kind of what we were talking about. Him getting attacked.
Ted DiBiase versus Bam Bam Bigelow. Chris Adams versus Iceman. King Parsons. Paul Orndorff versus Rick Rude.
Ric Flair versus Dusty Rhodes.
Beefcake versus Valentine. Before they were tag team partners for a while. All right, you want to finish reading this article so you don't leave the folks hanging?
Is this the same one?
It's continued. Continued.
Let me see. Where's the pickup at? Up here?
Yeah. All
right. Matt Brock's plain speak. Continued. Let me get one thing straight. I don't like it when professional wrestlers use this great sport to advance their careers in other areas, especially crappy rock music. I despise the WWF's rockin' wrestling connection, and I make a point to show up late when the NWA does rock concerts. Let's see where to pick up at. Rock concerts before their Great American Bash cards. They still do that, though. I especially don't approve of Michael Hayes using his fame as a wrestler to promote a rock concert, which is exactly what he did at the Sportatorium on March 4th. But after all these years, I've gained an instinct for knowing where the stories are. I had a feeling something might happen here. Let me assure you, though, that I sat in the back of the Sportatorium wearing a dark sunglasses so nobody would spot me, a pair of earplugs so I wouldn't have to endure the noise of Hayes and his Bad Street Band were spewing out. Old Blue Eyes, they're not. Anyways, I was looking like a pretty uneventful evening until Buddy Roberts came out of the audience to sing Bad Street USA with Hayes and the band, and then all hell broke loose. Roberts left the stage, and Hayes told the audience he wanted to dedicate Willie Nelson's My Heroes Have Always Been Cowboys to David Von Erich. And then get this, he invited Kerry and Kevin Von Erich on the stage with him. Well, everybody knows that the Von Erichs and the Freebirds do not mix. So this was quite a sight. They started singing. Then Roberts and Iceman Parsons returned to the stage. And one thing led to another. And before you know it, Parsons and Roberts were fighting with the Von Erichs. And then Roberts picked up the guitar, swung it at Kerry, missed, and knocked out Hayes. And then the Von Erichs helped Hayes back to the dressing room, where he was diagnosed having sustained a concussion. I went back there and saw Roberts, who said he felt terrible about hurting Hayes. Hayes, however, would hear nothing of it. The injury meant he had to miss a title match against Al Perez 2 nights later, so Kerry took his place and beat Perez for the belt. A few days later, Perez and manager Gary Hart announced they were going to the NWA. The Von Erichs were still in Hayes' corner, and the world-class fans were waiting to see what would happen next. But as I said, the Von Erichs and the Freebirds don't mix. Don't expect Kerry and Kevin to be friends with Hayes for very long. Let's see, is that the end of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't long after this, Michael Hayes went to the NWA as well, and you end up with the Blackbirds, which consist of Terry Gordy, Iceman King Parsons, and Buddy Roberts, and which led into the heart attack angle.
As Hulk Hogan hired Randy Savage to crush Ted DiBiase.
Hulk Hogan knew that Ted DiBiase, not Andre the Giant, would be his biggest problem at the WrestleMania 4 WWF title tournament. He also knew that Randy Savage had the best shot at getting to DiBiase before DiBiase got to Hogan. Hogan was actually going to film No Holds Bar. No Holds Bar.
Trying to revitalize the Four Horsemen.
Yeah. I think this was, they took Luger out.
Yeah, since the defection of Lex Luger, the Four Horsemen has been one horseman short. So
and then Barry Windham filled his spot. I believe that's how that ended up.
The roster must filled, so I guess they hadn't been filled at this point.
It ended up being filled with Barry Windham. All right, you're back on dock here.
Oh, we're up.
Yeah, it starts right up here.
All right, Kerry Von Erich and Michael Hayes unite. We are really still on this, huh? Trying to imagine Sergeant Slaughter in a tag team with the Iron Sheik to try and visualize Hulk Hogan and Ted DiBiase having lunch together before a workout.
Hold up. What's crazy is the Iron Sheik and Sergeant Slaughter did team up. Anyway, I just wanted to add that to it.
Back to the article.
If you really want to get detailed, Ted DiBiase joined the NWO with Hulk Hogan. Okay, anyway, you can go ahead and read it. I just wanted to say that. Add that 2 cents to it.
All right. Where were we? Okay. Picture Jerry Lawler taking on Paul E. Dangerously as his manager. All of these situations seem impossible because all of the deep hatred that exists between these men. So how can one fathom the concept of Kerry Von Erich and Michael Hayes forming a friendship? As unbelievable as it seems, if Von Erich and Hayes are asked about each other, they now speak with only the most glowing praise and admiration. While the other Freebirds and Von Erichs fuss and fight, Hayes and Kerry seem to grow closer every day. There's nobody with more integrity than Kerry in this whole stinking sport, said Hayes in his gravely southern drawl. I could say it like him. Even during the nastiest of days on our wars against each other, you never heard me saying nothing bad about his ability. And he's got a heart for days. Man, heart for days. You know, Michael Hayes and I spilled a great deal of each other's blood during our battles, said Von Erich, and that's not something you just forget in a matter of a day or two. But I think our new friendship is solid, and that's mainly due to a maturity that we both had our share of good times and hard times, and what makes you grow up a lot. Michael's too smart to be as brazen and stupid as his Freebird friends. Strange bedfellows indeed. The events leading to this most unlikely alliance are as unique as the friendship itself. Hard living, hard drinking, bad street brawler, clean living, religious minded, modern day warrior. Still keep an eye on. Let's see.
Yeah, I think it continues on page 52.
To be continued. Maybe you should flip over there so we can finish it.
We'll go through the
I guess we'll do it the way they want you to do it. Yeah. Leaving you on edge, folks.
Highlights of WrestleMania 3 here.
Ricky Steamboat, forgotten superstar.
Yeah. He was forgotten in the WWF. This is a little article about Sting.
Blonde Sting.
Yeah.
I'm glad I haven't won the world title. Personally, I think Flair's the lamest excuse for a champion I've ever seen. How can he honestly consider himself the best when he can't beat me by himself? A little bit full of himself there. Mm-hmm. Lex Luger and I are the best the 1990s have to offer, and it won't be long before all the NWA belts are around our waists. Let's see. Here's Sting executing a leg drop on Ric Flair.
When I get sneak attacked, I feel great. It proves that all those guys never take me on one-on-one in the center of the ring.
He thinks people are scared of him.
And he's still wrestling today. That's crazy.
When was this?
This was 88.
Okay.
This was before you were born.
Yeah. 1 year before my birth.
Here's Jerry Lawler. He's still wrestling. Well, I don't know if he's still wrestling at this very moment, but it hasn't been long. He was in Eddie Gilbert.
Yep. Mostly just ring announcing.
He's not even doing much of that anymore. Years ago, you were like a son to me. You were a good kid. But the facts are you're throwing fire at me, and it's final proof of your cowardice. Get off your soapbox, Lawler. is throwing fire is an act of cowardice, then you're the biggest coward of all. You're nothing but a fraud, Eddie Gilbert.
Oh, that's a ad.
And David Crockett prepares to interview Magnum TA, who claims he carries a baseball bat only for his own protection. Tony Blanchard would disagree to that. That was Magnum before the wreck. I don't know what year he had the wreck in. But.
Oh, this is the DiBiase Savage.
Yeah.
More of that.
Honky Tonk Man, dressing room door to the hall. I think Gunther's they're gonna leave the title on him, and he's gonna beat the Honky Tonk Man's record. Baby Doll has a broken history relationship with the men she manages. Larry Sabisco, beware. Tully runs in to save Flair from Luger's bear hug. Flair reportedly wants the Horsemen to add a fourth member, and he thinks Sting may beg to join the group. Dylan doesn't want to experience the same troubles that he had with Luger before he decided to leave the group.
We're almost back to our story. We're on page 51.
Yeah.
Now you're on the edge of your seat. All right. We're back at it. We got to remember what was going on again. All right, we'll start it on this paragraph. Their friendship actually began when Terry Gordy and Buddy Roberts and the other members of the infamous Freebirds trio returned to the world-class area several months ago. Along with Iceman Parsons, they rekindled their feud with Kerry and Kevin Von Erich as soon as they appeared. Their actions came as a surprise to those who believed the bad feelings between the two sides had ended. As the Freebirds and the Von Erichs teamed regularly the last time the Bad Street Boys were in the world-class area back in late 85. Then came the infamous attack on Fritz Von Erich by Gordy, Roberts, Parsons, and the Angel of Death on December 25th in Dallas, Texas. The battle lines between the Von Erichs and Freebirds were clearly drawn. When Hayes announced he would return to world class, most observers expected a full-scale resumption of one of the decade's most bitter rivalries. Hayes had other ideas. He chose Dallas to launch a brief tour with his Bad Street Band in support of their new Off the Streets album. He also announced that he had no intentions of wrestling or getting involved with the Freebirds Von Erich battles. To try and hurt people I don't really dislike for any reason is crazy. Yeah, says Hayes at the time. We were all getting along the last time we were here. Why should things be any different now? Buddy and Terry are big boys. They can do what they want, but I don't have time for no trouble. I've got rock and rollin' to keep me busy, brother. While Hayes prepared for his concert appearance, Kerry and Kevin Von Erich battled Roberts, Gordy, and Parsons all over Texas. Kerry was pleased and pleasantly surprised that Hayes had not joined in their brutality. I wish Roberts and Gordy would follow the lead of Hayes, and said Kerry. Michael is smart enough to mind his own business. He saw the way they made my father suffer, and he knows they were wrong. He's his own man. Hayes started his Dallas concert audience by inviting Kerry and Kevin on stage, and he even dedicated the Willie Nelson song to the late David Von Erich. The harmony was shattered, though, when Roberts and Parsons came on the stage and began arguing with the Von Erichs. A brawl broke out, and Roberts picked up the guitar, swung it at Kerry, who ducked, and the instrument struck Hayes in the head. It was Von Erich who helped Hayes off the stage. The extent of how much Hayes has mellowed towards Kerry showed in his actions following the concert fracas. Hayes was diagnosed having a concussion, was forced to give up on his match against the world-class championship Al Perez since Gordy, the number 2 contender, was touring in Japan. The title shot went to the number 3 contender Kerry. When Von Erich defeated Perez for the title, Hayes was as pleased as if he had won the belt himself. He pinned the man clean, enthused Hayes. It's about time that slug Perez got what was coming to him. As far as I'm concerned, Kerry's the rightful champ. As for Buddy and Iceman, I have no comment. A's benevolent attitude was reciprocated when he wrestled Perez a few days later. When Angel of Death interfered on behalf of Perez late in the bout, it was Kerry who ran to the ring to rescue Hayes. After a firm handshake, it was apparent that new spirit existed between the two superstars. Hayes and Von Erich had even wrestled as a team on a few occasions. But how long can the good last? How will Gordy, Roberts, and Parsons react to teaming? How do Kevin and Fritz Von Erich feel about the Hayes? Can the teetotaling Von Erich put up with the Hayes, who freely admits that one of his best friends is Jack Daniels? There are no more extreme opposites than Michael Hayes and Kerry Von Erich. Together they make an unbeatable combination, but they stand at the center of one of wrestling's longest running feuds. The partnership is a test of their experience and maturity. So far they have passed with honors. All right. There's some pictures.
Look at this. This is an advertisement of the WWF LJNs. $12 for
Let's see.
$12 for a wrestler. Does it say how much the tag team's only $24?
Yeah. Rowdy Roddy Piper.
Boy, that would have been something.
There's the rest of the Steamboat story, which we didn't read. Wrestling Monthly.
And there's more of that. Your assignment here, baby.
Oh, this is a long article. I don't know where it stopped on. Okay.
Right up at the top.
Hayes wants it, then I'll be forced to kick some sense into his empty head. I'm tired of being abused by that. I thought that said something else.
Yeah.
Shiftless loudmouth. Anything he does is okay. He gets liquored up and wrecks my car. It's okay. He laughs it off. I go out for a little fun and it's the end of the world. Terry Gordy, the third Freebird, who happened to be in Japan during the concert, responds with frustration and can't decide which side to take. It's all pretty damn confusing, he said, irritably, crunching on a beer can. If they don't stop all the damn fighting, I might have to kick both their ugly butts. Yes, there's trouble in the Freebird Kingdom. Adding to confusion now is the rumor that Michael Hayes and Kerry Von Erich will soon team regularly. It's no rumor, Kerry assured me. This is a very new Michael Hayes. He's a different man. You wouldn't recognize him. Kerry was wrong. I recognize the man who answered my knock on his hotel door. Who else would answer his door at 10 a.m. draped in a towel and with what else? A bottle of Jack Daniels in his hand. Kerry claims you've changed for the better, I said once Hayes dressed himself. He only seemed to feel you're a different person. I paused. But you're still going to have to convince me. Look close here, Lizzie, Hayes said with a laugh. Can't you see my halo? Neither Kerry nor Michael were able to convince me that their friendship was anything more than a marriage of convenience. Two enemies temporarily suspending hostilities in the pursuit of a common cause. I give it 6 months, which is a lot better than some other marriages I know. But those tend to end in tears, recrimination, and regrets. The unholy alliance between Von Erich and Hayes can only end in blood and broken bones. Can't you see my halo? Michael Hayes asked me again with a smile. He took another deep gulp from the bottle of whiskey as I turned to leave his hotel. I could only have imagined how the blend of alcohol and bright early morning sunlight was affecting him. As for Kerry, I know he was damaged his ankle in that motorcycle accident. I didn't know he damaged his eyesight too. Low blow. We'll see if it continues.
No, I think that's going to be pretty much it. Here's a page we missed, but we'll go.
Oh.
Advertising more issues. Baby doll needs to be with wrestlers like Larry Sabisco, is pointed out by what's that? Psychiatrist Dr. Morton. All right. Road Warrior Hawk chases the Warlord with a chair. Reader Frank Mock believes the Warriors will defeat the War. Oh yeah, of course the Road Warriors will defeat Warlord and Barbarian. All right. Here's some more pictures here of this month in the The Wrestler and Pro Wrestling Illustrated. Can the Fantastics replace the Rock and Roll Express? Hulk Hogan has turned Rule Breaker into the world's Hulkamaniacs are not pleased. Little cross sell of what's to come.
Some more back issues.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to sell the old stuff. Official ratings.
Yeah, everybody likes to look at these.
These are fun. All right. Top 15. Let's see who we got here. Ric Flair, Randy Savage, Sting, Kurt Hennig, Lex Luger, Ted DiBiase, Terry Taylor, Hulk Hogan, Jonathan coming in number 8. Owen Hart.
Opinionated.
Mike Rotundo, the Honky Tonk Man, Greg Gagne, Andre the Giant, Jerry Lawler, and Hercules. I don't know how you say that. Elia. All right, this is NWA ones. Then we got number 1. We got Ric Flair, Sting, Larry Zbyszko. You can read the rest. AWA, Kurt Hennig, Greg Gagne, Wahoo McDaniel.
WWF, you got the champion Macho Man, Honky Tonk Man. Honky Tonk Man, I think he was the Intercontinental Champion. Ted DiBiase, Hogan at number 4. Andre the Giant, Bam Bam Bigelow, Brutus Beefcake, and Hacksaw Duggan, and Jake Roberts, Ricky Steamboat, Ultimate Warrior. He must have fell from grace there, but that was before, he was on the rise. Yeah. Rick Rude, One Man Gang, Greg Valentine, Butch Reed. Most popular. And then you got Hulk Hogan.
Hogan, there he is, number 1, baby.
Most hated, Andre the Giant, Ted DiBiase, and Ric Flair.
All the bad guys.
Yeah.
There's Lord Humongous pulling up the end.
Yeah.
Tag teams, Road Warriors.
Barry Windham and Lex Luger.
Yep. Demolition.
And eventually, Barry Windham turned on Lex Luger and joined the Horsemen.
Yep. There's Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson.
Yeah.
There's Kevin and Kerry, Kerry and Kevin.
It was never Kevin and Kerry. It was always Kerry and Kevin.
Yeah. Kerry was the star. Yeah. Blast from the past. This month in wrestling history.
Bruno Sammartino versus Buddy Rogers.
May 17th, 1963.
Crowning a living legend.
It was like almost, what? Is today the 17th?
It was, yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It was.
Today, how many years ago? That was like the year after my mom was born. Yeah. Ugh, what is that? 60-something years.
Anyway, we won't worry about doing that.
It's been a minute.
I'll read this. It says, it was the beginning of a remarkable 7.5-year title reign as Bruno Sammartino defeated WWF champion Buddy Rogers in a 48 seconds at New York's Madison Square Garden at a standing room only crowd of 19,649 looked on as Bruno used a bear hug and backbreaker to get the job done. You'll never see anything like that done today. 7.5 years, they just don't do that. I mean, most wrestlers, they go to Hollywood within 3 if they're big. And there's the back issue. You can buy a Pro Wrestling Illustrated.
Nice gear there.
Yeah. All right.
Probably can find some of that on the
And then we got this other thing over here I picked up the other day is a New England premiere of World Class Championship Wrestling. Sorry. June 1st, 1985, Manning Bowl.
With the Von Erichs.
Mike, Kevin, and Kerry, they were 6-man tag champions there. It was at the height of it. This was probably when it was most popular here. In the opening match, you had Johnny Mantell, which he was the one I think that ran that Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame in Wichita Falls, Texas. I don't know what happened there, but I think he was over that. Versus Brian Adias, the Fantastics, Tommy Rogers, and Bobby Fulton versus the Midnight Express. Beautiful Bobby and Loverboy Dennis Condrey. There you go. You got that. There's their picture. Young Jim Cornette there. Scott Casey versus Gino Hernandez. And you got
Great Kabuki.
The fourth event. The Great Kabuki with Sunshine as his manager. That must have been, Gary Hart must have been in the NWA at this time. That must have been when he left. Versus Rip Oliver with Jim Cornette as manager. First main event, Kevin Von Erich versus Chris Adams. Oh, there's Gary Hart. I wonder why he wasn't managing the Kabuki. He was the Kabuki's manager too. And then the second main event, Kerry Von Erich versus One Man Gang with his manager Gary Hart. There's the Great Kabuki, Chris Adams.
There's your Great Kabuki. Chris Adams.
Gino Hernandez, the handsome half-breed. It's him saying that, not me saying that. And then you got
They never say that nowadays.
Sunshine.
Too cornet, too tough to handle.
The Fantastics. Kerry Von Erich and Platinum, famous World Club. On sale tonight. Pictures of all the stars and their programs.
Get your favorite to autograph his picture.
Yeah. It just talk. I've read this, and it talks about how they were big in Israel, and they were trying to expand and get out and get outside of Dallas and do something big. Yeah. But anyway, that's what's on this video. We reviewed these two. If you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. Thank you.